Would you believe Matt Damon is a space pirate? The Martian is a movie based on the book by Andy Weir, starring Matt Damon and directed by Ridley Scott. It is the story of astronaut Mark Watney, played by Matt Damon, who gets left behind on a mission to Mars. The rest of his crew think he passed away during a sandstorm when they're escaping Mars. Watney later wakes up and has to figure out a way to survive on the planet Mars for 4 years. The movie is fantastic, and Matt Damon is the reason why. You feel his desperation and loneliness, but you also feel his positivity. He wakes up every day figuring out what needs to be done with a positive outlook on life. It's his video logs that show his positivity. And being an astronaut, he has to utilize what he has available to him to survive. The movie cuts between Matt Damon on Mars surviving and NASA back on Earth trying to figure out a way to help him survive and rescue him. The movie is very uplifting and positive. Damon's character has a very positive outlook on life, and it comes through in the comedy of the movie. The movie is really funny, and so is the book. That's one of the things they captured really well from the book to the movie is Mark Watney's character and how funny he is. In the book, you actually get to see Watney's dossier file and how he is an uplifting character, and that's actually why he was chosen to go on the mission in the first place. Some of the other actors that do a great job in the movie is Chiwetel Ejiofor, who plays the Mars team lead at NASA. Jeff Daniels plays the head of NASA and does a great job in that role. The character is a little different than it was in the book. The character is a little less likable than Jeff Daniels is in the story. Sean Bean plays the mission control director at NASA, and in the book, him and Daniels' character go at it a lot more than they do in the movie, and that's okay. It's one of the things I liked in the book more, but it doesn't take away from the movie. The one character that I think they missed on from the book to the movie is Kristen Wiig's character, and that's simply because they had to make this movie PG-13. In the book, she's a very R-rated character, and in the movie, they had to tone it down to make it PG-13, and her character lost something in that transition. Maybe there might be an unrated cut where she goes off a little bit more, and I would love to see that. She still did a great job in the movie. I was just looking for that character in the book to stand out a little bit more. Another character that did a fantastic job is Donald Glover. He was awesome in the movie. I loved his character in the book and in the movie. They captured it perfectly. Loved it. I didn't like some of the omissions the movie left out from the book. One of the biggest ones is the overall science. The movie had some great science scenes. I was just looking for a little bit more. In the book, Andy Weir gets really technical. It's one of the things I really enjoyed of the book, but they pulled it back for the movie, and I understand why, just to probably make it a little bit more relatable to a more broader audience, which is great. They did a fantastic job of explaining the science behind what was happening during the movie, and it didn't seem like a teaching lesson during the scenes of exposition. Some of the other omissions that I personally would have liked. I wanted one more situation where Watney had to overcome. They cut out a few from the book that he had to overcome. I'm not going to mention what they are because I want you to go read the book and watch the movie. Watch the movie first and then go read the book, I think, because I think you'll enjoy the movie more without reading the book. There's just a couple more situations where I wanted Watney to overcome something, and they cut those out. Maybe we'll get to see a director's cut, and those will be thrown back in. Best part of the movie is the ending. The ending is phenomenal. It had me on the edge of my seat. My heart was pounding. It was amazing. I loved the ending. Even though they changed something from the book that I didn't necessarily care for, it was still a spectacular ending and amazingly well done. Really, really heartfelt and awesome. Go out and see this movie in theaters. It is well worth seeing in theaters, probably multiple times, and well worth owning. Even though I didn't necessarily like some of the changes they made from the book, it is still a phenomenal movie, and everybody should see it. One of the things that hit me while I was watching the ending was that in our lifetime, my kids' lifetimes, we'll see somebody step foot on Mars. Overall, just feeling of hope that I have thinking of that, of thinking of the accomplishment of the human race to be able to set foot on another world really overtook me at the end of the movie, thinking about how that actually could happen in our lifetime. And I really want to see that by the time I pass away. I'm hoping that by the time my grandkids or great-grandkids that we might have a colony on Mars. I know that back in the 60s, that's probably what they thought, that we're going to have a colony on the moon by now. I hope that by the time that I am great-grandfather, that there are people on Mars living and sustaining life. And especially with the announcement earlier this week that there is flowing water on Mars. And it's such a great announcement from NASA during probably strategically timed for when this movie was coming out to drum up support for the movie and drum up support for NASA, which they need. And it's amazing, and I want everybody to see this movie. Go check out the reports from NASA about the flowing water on Mars, learn about it, learn about the possibility of people traveling to Mars and everything that they're doing. There is an astronaut on the space station right at the moment that's living on the space station for a year. Study the long-term effects on the human body in space. Follow that. Follow everything to try to drum up support for space exploration, which needs to happen so we can expand humanity past our on to others. So again, Go see The Martian. It's well worth seeing in theaters and well worth owning when it comes out on Blu-ray video on demand.